is in all its glory, the Knobula Polycinematic 8-voice polyphonic synthesizer for your modular. Now normally with a modular, if you want to do polyphonic, you're probably thinking about maybe 2 voices, 3 voices, because you're going to need several oscillators, you're going to need several filters, several envelopes. If you want that sound of, polyphonic chords and things like that, well, this makes that a lot easier because you can store the chords in there. And I've got a chord stored in there right now, the last one I played. And I'm adding a little FX aid to that. So let me do a little less of that. The Polycinematic starts out at the top here in the blue with the envelope section. So you have your attack, then you have decay, sustain on one knob to kind of simplify things, and then you have the release there. So with a little release, that's the last chord I had in there. And put it on the low pass filter. Now this is the trigger button right there, and it will play the last chord that you input via this MIDI in jack. This one's a prototype, but it's pretty close to what is going to ship out somewhere around September, and I think that this chord button will be lighted, even though this one isn't. And it will ship with this type of cable. It'll have MIDI on one end, and it'll have TRS type of thing on the other end for MIDI. And you'll put it in the MIDI in there, and then you can plug that into your keyboard. I'm going to plug this into my key step here. You can play chords. And individual notes as well. And then surrounding this button here in the pink is the filter. And you have a filter envelope with it. So you could do kind of if you turn the filter frequency all the way down, put that on low pass. It has a little bit of resonance on it right now. And you can have key follow. I've got it just set to halfway here. And so if I turn the envelope all the way up and the frequency all the way down, I can get more of a percussive type of sound. Let me input a chord into it. Let me turn the decay down and the release down. You can hear that the envelope is controlling the filter because the filter is all the way down. Then put a little release on it so you can have a little sound like that with a little attack, or you could do more of a string type of sound. Go down to the oscillator section here. I'm going to have a slower attack, and I'm going to put it over onto the saw wave, and put the detune there right in the center, and let's turn the filter up, the envelope down, and we get more of a string type of sound. Let's make that sustain a little bit. And then we can have a little bit of detuning on the string there to thicken it up. And there's moving on down here, there's a internal reverb. So you turn the internal reverb up. Turn it up all the way here. Get a nice lush string. Okay, so the first wave they're calling super saw, and the mode will affect it. Mode 1 for this one will be a classic 7 oscillator. Turn the reverb down a little bit. Modes 2 and 3 are different blends of 6 oscillators. That's mode 2, mode 3, and then you can do the unison of it. The various detuned modes. And then you have the square with 3 modes, going through different wave shapers to give it different sounds. So there's mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, and kind of a unison and a detuned version. And then the third one is called tone wheel, and that's a blend of sine waves in some drawbar combinations. So that's 1, 2, 3, and those were detuned. Let's listen to it with no detuning. There's 1. That does sound a little organ sounding. 2 would make an excellent house chord. So let's I like that one. A little detune. Let's make a house chord. So we'll turn the frequency down and we'll let the envelope all the way up to give it a little stab there, tack down. And let's put a little bit of the internal reverb with the house chord. Maybe more detuning. Can get very metallic with the detuning. Sounds great. As far as these jacks here, you have your trigger, so that's for your gate signal. You have filter frequency controllable by CV, so you could put a LFO on that and have the filter kind of sweeping. That would sound great with this high pass filter here, something like this. And you have MIDI in, of course, to store the chords. You can store 8. And then you can switch those 8 chords using the chord select jack. And then the oscillator frequency, would be where your pitch CB goes. So typically I've been using maybe a sampled house chord, and you're playing that chord over and over again throughout your song. And with this, I'll be able to, change it and shape it as I go along to, create a lot more interest than just the same old static house chord sample. And when run through the FX aid, it's pretty incredible. See you next time.